The information on this show has been provided by DETV, an independent company not affiliated with Barclays or any of Barclays' affiliates. Barclays makes no claims to the accuracy of the content, nor does it recommend or endorse any products or services that have been mentioned in the program. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or the positions of Barclays. Hi, I'm Danae Wolf. I went from being broke and getting evicted in my 20s to becoming a millionaire in my 30s. And here's the best part. It didn't happen because I got some windfall of cash. It didn't happen because I got a fancy new job. It happened because I started controlling my money and stopped letting it control me. I cracked the code on personal finance, and I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible have the same transformation. The truth is, it's not a lack of money that's keeping you broke, it's a lack of financial education. And that's why I'm doing this show, because I believe financial literacy is a right, not a privilege. So join me to learn how to increase your financial IQ so you can make and keep more money. Welcome to Money Matters. Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Money Matters, where we dive into financial education, empowerment, and freedom. I'm your host and financial empowerment coach, Danae Wolf. Now, in each episode of Money Matters, you're going to learn practical and tactical lessons that will show you exactly how to gain financial clarity and confidence so that you can increase your bank balance and decrease your stress. Now, today we're tackling a topic that often feels pretty mysterious and intimidating. So we're going to be talking about building credit from scratch. Now, I am not talking about what to do if you have bad credit, okay? That's not what today is about. Today, I'm talking about what to do if you have no credit at all. So I just want to make that distinction. Now, you could be in a situation where maybe you're just starting out in life after finishing school, or perhaps you've been living off of cash and debit cards and you never really got in a situation where you needed a loan or a credit card. But whatever the reason, if you are in a place where you have no credit, then today's episode is for you, because we are going to explore how to put yourself on the radar of credit bureaus and lenders so that you'll be able to open doors to better financial opportunities down the road. Because here's the truth, having a strong credit profile can help you secure better interest rates on loans, qualify for an apartment, and honestly, even land certain jobs. So if you are ready to get started, let's jump in. Now, before we dive into the how, I want to first talk about the why, because you really have to understand why credit matters. Imagine trying to get a mortgage for your first home one day. Without a credit history, lenders have no clue how reliable you are at paying back borrowed money. Your credit score is like your financial reputation. It's a signal of trustworthiness. No credit doesn't necessarily mean bad credit. It just means you haven't started the conversation yet. So building credit is essentially writing your financial story, showing that you can borrow responsibly and pay on time. Over time, this story gives you access to better financial tools, lower interest rates, and more flexibility. A great credit history can save you thousands of dollars in interest over your lifetime. So think of building credit not as a chore, but honestly as an investment in your future. Just like planting a tree, the best time to start building credit was yesterday, but the second best time is today. The length of your credit history is a factor in your credit score. So starting now, whether you're 18 or 38, gives you a head start. And honestly, it is about consistency. Month after month of responsible behavior can turn a blank slate into a solid score. I remember I had a friend of mine who never used credit cards in her early 20s. By the time she decided to apply for a car loan at the age of 27, she struggled because she had no credit history. It took her months of setting up the right accounts and making regular payments before she saw a real score start to emerge. Now, if she had just started a couple of years earlier with a small credit card or a credit builder loan, she would have breezed through that car loan process. So that's why I want to get into our very first tip of the day, which is to open a secured credit card. This is often the easiest way to start building credit when you have no credit history. So let's just say you put down a deposit of $300. That $300 that you put down now becomes your credit card limit. And you use this card for small monthly purchases that you know you can afford, like your streaming subscription or your morning coffee. Make sure that you pay off the balance in full each month. This shows that you're responsible and reliable. Now, after about 6 months to a year, many of these credit card issuers might upgrade you to an unsecured credit card, which means that at that point, they will actually return your initial deposit and increase your limit. So here is what I want you to do, just a quick exercise. Take a moment and jot down a few things that you could charge to a secured credit card that you already budget for. Okay, keep it simple. Maybe it's your cell phone bill or your groceries. By pairing these existing expenses with your secured credit card, you ensure that you won't overspend. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to give the credit card issuer a lump sum of money. That is going to be held onto them, and then you are going to start utilizing that credit card and paying it off every single month. And once you've done this long enough, you will get that money back. So that is our first tip to helping you create credit when you have none. Now, another great way to create credit when you have none is to become an authorized user on someone else's credit card. Now, this could be a parent, a sibling, or even a close friend. Now, what you want to do is make sure that whoever the person is, you have to make sure they have a solid credit track record, okay? You don't want to do this with somebody who also has no credit or even worse, has bad credit. Now, as an authorized user, their card's payment history shows up on your credit report, helping you build credit without taking on your own line of credit immediately. Now, again, I can't stress this enough. You want to make sure that this person is financially responsible. If they miss payments, it could hurt you and your credit score. So communication is going to be key here. Also, I want you to understand that you don't even have to use the card because it could be difficult to convince someone to let you use their credit card. All you really have to do is be attached to a well-managed credit card. That will boost your credit. So find someone who's reliable and responsible, has good credit, and is willing to let you be on their credit card. Explain that you will not use the credit card or make any transactions. You simply want their positive credit and positive payment history to help impact yours. The next tip we have is for you to set up a credit builder loan. This is another excellent option. So many credit unions or online lenders tend to offer this option for you. And instead of giving you the money up front, what they actually do is hold the funds in a savings account. So you pay the loan off monthly, and once you're done, you get the money. Plus, you've built a track record of on-time payments. This is one of my favorite options because it's a low-risk way to show the credit bureaus that you can handle installment payments, okay? Now, installment payments is simply just making a payment when it's due on time every single month. And by the end of doing this, number one, you're going to have a positive payment history, which is going to help you establish credit. And number two, you're going to have a small nest egg. So you are essentially building up a savings and building up your credit at the same exact time. Now, another tip for you guys is store credit cards. Now, these are really easy to qualify for, even if you don't have credit. But I want you to tread carefully with these, because one of the reasons why they're easier to get approved for is because they have really high interest rates. But the good news here is if you make small purchases and pay them off right away, you'll never pay the interest. So for example, if you shop at the same grocery store or retail store regularly, buy something small each month and pay the bill in full. This strategy helps you build credit while keeping your costs down, because as long as you're paying it off in real time, you're building your credit without ever accruing the interest. Now, the next tip is we want you to focus on your credit utilization. Now, your credit utilization is the percentage of your credit limit that you use. And ideally, I want you to keep this under 30%. So think about it like this. Let's say you did one of those credit cards and they gave you a $500 limit. I want you to aim to keep your balance under $150. Now, don't get me wrong. Ideally, you're keeping your balance at zero. You're paying it off in full every single month. But I know that life happens. So if you get in a situation where you cannot pay it off, I want you to pay off 70% of it, because we don't want it to exceed that 30%. And I also want you to make sure, and I can't stress this enough, you need to pay on time every time, okay? Late payments can severely damage your credit, especially when your credit history is so new. Even one missed payment early on can set you back months. So make sure you are paying those on time every time. Now, beyond these core tips, I also want you to consider the following as you're on your journey of building your credit. I want you to make sure that you are checking your credit reports, okay? Once you start building credit and you have a credit score to monitor, I want you to check your report from each of the three major bureaus. So we have the Equifax one, the Experian, and the TransUnion. At least once a year, they allow you to get a free report at annualcreditreport.com. You can also sign up for free credit monitoring tools, and on those, you can watch your score each month, okay? Credit Karma is one of my favorites, and you can watch that and see how you're making progress. And we know that as we see that progress and we see our score improving, it's just going to motivate us to do better and better. Now, the next tip, in addition to setting up a tool or an app to monitor your score, is to set alerts and reminders, okay? Remember, I talked about how important it is to pay on time every time. So what I want you to do is put calendar reminders in for your due dates, or set up automatic payments so that you never forget a payment. Now, what I'd love for you to do right now is just kind of pause, and I want you to think about one small step you can take today, right now, to further you along on this journey. Maybe you need to research a secured credit card issuer, or maybe you can talk to a trusted family member about becoming an authorized user. Whatever it is, I want you to write it down and commit to it right now. Now that you have your action item, let's talk a bit more about how credit scores are calculated so that you know why these tips I'm giving you matter so much. So the first thing to know about how they calculate your score is that 35% of it is your payment history. Your record of on-time payments is the single biggest factor. Every on-time payment counts. Now, the second component of your score is credit utilization. That accounts for 30% of the score. So not as much as making the payments on your time, but it is 30%. So you want to keep your usage low to show that you're not maxing out your available credit. Remember, we want to stay right at that 30%, which essentially means whatever your limit is on your credit card, 70% of it should always be paid off. The next component of your score is the length of credit history, and this accounts for 15%. The longer you have credit accounts in good standing, the better. So you can see at this point, we have cut the percentage in half. We went from 35% to 30%, and now we're at 15%. So each of these is getting less and less critical, but nonetheless, they're all going to be added together to help create your score. The next component of them calculating your credit score is new credit, and this accounts for 10% of your score. So if you have a lot of new accounts or inquiries hitting your credit, it can really spook lenders out. So let me give you an example of this. When you go to apply for any of the things I suggested to you today, they will in fact run your credit. Every time your credit is run, it does put a slight ding on your score. That accounts for about 10% of the total score. Now, the next component of your credit score is credit mix. This accounts for 10% of your score. So over time, having different types of credit, so credit cards, loans, your car payment, having that diversification can help. Now, you don't need to worry about rushing into this in the beginning, right? Just find 1 to 2 things that work for you and really double down and focus on them. But knowing that it's a component of it can help you down the line. Because once you really grasp the breakdown of how the credit score is calculated, it's going to help you navigate your credit score. So all of those balances will total to 100%, and that is how they get you with your credit score. Now, I want to take a couple moments and go over some really common questions that I get asked. So one of the most common questions I get is, how long before I see a credit score? So this is if you've got no credit, how long will it take before you start to see a credit score? And the answer is typically, all right, there's going to be all kinds of individualized situations here, but typically it's going to be about 6 months of credit activity before you get a score. This is why I said in the beginning, guys, the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is today. Now, another thing I'm asked often is, do I need multiple credit cards to build credit? And the answer is not necessarily, okay? 1 or 2 accounts managed well over time can really do wonders on your credit score. When it comes to building credit, it's not about quantity, it truly is about quality. Now, I also get asked, what if I can't get approved for anything? So if you are in a situation where you're trying to apply for a credit card, you're trying to apply for a car, and just no one is approving you because you have no credit, then your only solution is one of the first ones we talked about, getting a secured card or a credit builder loan. These are designed for people who have no credit. And then remember, we also gave you the other option, which is to become an authorized user on someone else's account. These are almost always going to be the best starting points for those of you who have no credit at all. Now, before I let you go today, I also want to talk about some of the most common mistakes I see. Because building credit isn't just about what to do, it's also about what not to do. So here are a few mistakes that I would love for you to avoid. Number one is I don't want you to max out your credit card. Now, even if you pay it off, okay? Even if you pay it off, maxing your credit card out frequently can look risky. So even if you know that you can pay it off, I would prefer you to not max it out on a regular basis. The next mistake to avoid is don't open too many accounts at once. This can lower your average account age and it can raise concerns. Remember, I said when you open new accounts, they ding your credit. That accounts for 10% of your score. So you want to be really careful with that. And then, of course, I'm a broken record with this, but a mistake that you want to avoid is don't make late payments, okay? Even one late payment can derail months of good behavior. Remember, slow and steady wins the race when it comes to credit building. Now, to recap today, here are the main takeaways that I want you to remember. If you have no credit and you're looking to build it, start with a secured credit card. This is a simple, accessible way to begin. Or become an authorized user. You can leverage someone else's good credit to jumpstart your own. Or you can consider a credit builder loan. This type of loan will establish a track record of on-time payments. We also discussed using a store credit card, but using it wisely. Remember, these are the ones with high interest rates. So you're going to want to make small purchases and pay them off immediately to avoid paying that high interest. You also learned today to keep your utilization low and pay on time. These are the cornerstones of good credit habits. I want you to make sure you're checking your progress on an app such as Credit Karma. I want you to celebrate your wins, and I don't want you to get discouraged if it takes time. Building credit is a lot like building muscle. You need consistent exercise, not a quick fix. Remember, you're not just building credit. You are quite literally building your financial foundation. Each on-time payment, each low balance is a brick in the strong financial house that you are creating. Someday, when you're signing that lease without a cosigner or snagging a low-interest car loan, you'll look back and be grateful that you started now. Thank you so much for joining me today on Money Matters. I hope you're leaving this episode armed with actionable steps and the confidence to begin your credit journey. If this was helpful, please share it with someone who's also looking to start their credit journey. Let's empower each other to make better financial decisions. Now, until next time, keep building that financial IQ, keep believing in yourself, and remember, your financial future is in your hands. I'm Danae Wolf, and this is Money Matters. See you next time.